with crystal clear vision. We started off as a news online portal. We subsequently evolved into a magazine, and now on your radio. We do not only bear the name Media House. We practice with the best ethos of our professional calling, presenting facts with objectivity. We are committed and resolute. We are HallowMace. We are the standard bearers. It's HallowMace on radio, dedicated to promotion of legislature, democracy, and good governance. It's hot, interactive, educating, engaging, and entertaining. HallowMace on radio, Thursdays, 10 a.m. on Armed Forces Radio, 107.7 FM. HallowMace on radio. Parliament, brought to the people. Brought to the people.
Hello Abuja, good morning to you once again. Thank you for joining us on the program HallowMace on radio. It is a brand new edition because it is a brand new day. We come on this platform and we look at legislative issues on the program HallowMace on radio. It is a program which upholds positive legislative arm of government, deeper democratic governance, and of course, making sure that the country is good enough for the ordinary citizens. My name is Daniel Oji, not your regular host. I'll be holding it down for the crew who definitely are engaged in other responsibility. So on the show this morning, we'll be looking at a very, very pivotal and a critical issue because it cut across every facet of human endeavors. Why I said it cut across every facet of human endeavors. If the economy is not biting hard on you, then you are not in Nigeria. If you're not feeling the threat of insecurity, then probably you have left the country or you are somewhere in the Western world. And definitely if you're not feeling the rate of inflation, definitely maybe you are getting all of these as a freebies. Maybe you are part of the government or you are just an appointee of government. So today on the show, HallowMace, I am not alone. I am joined by two guests. Yes, the producer of the program definitely will be a guest speaker on the show. But let me introduce my guest. First of all, we continue. I am being joined by a legislative consultant, Mr. Chibuzor Okereke. Good morning, sir, and welcome to our studios. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Nigerians. Great to be here.
Well, sitting by my right-hand side is Mr. Anderson Osibe. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Abuja. Good morning, Nigeria.
Well, today, why I said we'll look at a very, very critical issue because Nigerians have been the victim of either good policies or bad policies of governments. We have a new government in place with a slogan of renewed hope agenda. And Nigerians wake up every day to one form of economic challenges or the other. It is either economy is biting harder or insecurity is coming closer to the seat of power. Even right here in the nation's capital, Abuja, we've been waking up to the news of kidnapping, banditry, and all forms of sundry crime. So all of these will form the focus and basis of conversation. But the topic of discussion this morning is security, insecurity, and the role of legislature, the state of the economy. That is the major topic, state of the economy. So cut across we'll be bringing into the conversation insecurity because without security, we can't talk about economic upliftment or economic rehabilitation. So it is security that guarantees good governance and guarantees revival of the economy. So the state of the economy and the role of legislature is the topic of discussion. Let me allow my guests to give us a background information of the topic of discussion. Sir, you agree with me that the government in place do have a lot in their kitty and they do have a lot of challenges to address to mitigate the level of economic downturn. We understand government is meant to be continuum because a government that is put in place definitely would want to listen to the yearnings of the ordinary citizens. People have voted a new government in place, even though it is not the choice of everyone. People will be hoping to see results. People will be hoping to see the dividends of democracy, so to speak. But economy definitely is not smiling on any Nigerians. So let's have a background information what the economy is looking like at the moment, what the present administration inherited. Where are we presently? Where are we heading to? And where do we intend to be, let's say, before the first tenure of this government? The role of the legislature is one thing we'll look at, but let's look at the economy and what the government needs to do. It's over to you.
I think that, first of all, the situation we are facing is how to find is a situation of the dichotomy between governance and politics, economic theories and economic reality, and then political transition and sincerity and the issue of accountability for governance. If you look at the issue of politics and governance, whenever we are done with elections, we are supposed to transit to produce governance. But what is happening in Nigeria is that we never get to a time of governance. We have politics full cycle, and that is a very big challenge. So if you look at the dichotomy between economic theories and economic reality, now the Minister of Finance, he was at National Assembly, I think the day before yesterday or so, and he said that we are in a better place than where we were in the past. Unfortunately, we do not have comparative periods to be able to know the past. The past could be 1999, it could be 2007. But what is the economic reality of Nigerians? The economic reality is that inflation is soaring high to over 28%, is that the purchasing power of the average Nigerian has reduced significantly, is that even those who have access to income are not able to purchase goods and services significantly. The reality is that unemployment is 33%, no matter the formula or framework you apply to reevaluate those that are in the chain of unemployment. The economic reality is that subsidy has been removed, and we are now buying fuel from 190 something naira to now NMPC 617, other people 670 in FCT, and then across the country, different prices. So this is the reality that Nigerians are facing, and also people are still leaving the country in droves, right? But we have a new administration that have also said this is a renewed hope. And hope is very significant for the survivor of any country. But how do you inspire people to have that hope? It's with policy examples that are firmly implemented to impart citizens. So people cannot feel maybe some of the impact of the policy trust of the government that stem to address some of these issues. But is the government taking steps? Absolutely, they are taking a number of steps, but there has not been a meeting point between the policy action and the economic reality of the country, because we've still got balance of payment deficit, we've still got debt servicing, taking our revenue to over 70% or what have you. I agree that maybe in 2024 budget, the deficit has been reduced, and that is because of the framework that was employed to make the budget, where some of those debt servicing and provisions were restructured and recategorized, from being the current position, right? So the situation, I don't think is palatable for most Nigerians. That is the reality. But how do we get out of it is probably what we'll continue to engage, maybe when we look at the perspective from what the legislature should do and what the government should do differently.
Okay, why we are looking forward to what the government will do to salvage the economic downturn, or what the legislature will do. So an average Nigerian who is waking up on a regular basis and hoping to fend for himself or his family, a bag of rice is as high as above 50,000 naira. And of course, the removal of fuel subsidy has the effect on basically the rising inflation that the country is going through. The cost of food items definitely has been on an exponential rise. And people will be wondering and asking questions. When the Minister of Finance appeared before the legislature and said the Nigerians are in a better position, and we want to look at these policies of government, like the removal of fuel subsidy and floating the naira. How long will this take for the ordinary citizens to begin to enjoy the benefits of democracy or the benefits of these policies of government? When these prices will begin to come down, or when we'll have stability in the economy, where a person can make a projection. Let's say you want to start a business and you say, I want to invest 100,000, 100 million, and I want to make this kind of profit or interest in the long term or in the middle term or in the short term. When can we see this stability, and when will the economy begin to enjoy the benefit of these kind of policies?
Well, I think that the minister and probably the government will be the ones to answer that question. But what I can say is that, one, yes, the subsidy was removed, and naira, the president floated the naira, and a number of other policies. But there's something the CBN governor has said that I think is very critical. In another platform, I have shared that you cannot make economic progress if you don't address the character of the appetite of your economy. The appetite of Nigerians, especially the political elite and those at the high income level, is that they demand for foreign goods and services more than the local goods. Exactly. They prefer to hold dollar in store of value, right, for their resources than the naira. And when your appetite is so high for foreign-made goods products and services, there is no way your naira is going to appreciate. That is number one. So attitudinal change is very key. And this attitudinal change calls for the rework of how our government functions. I have argued that we do not have citizens of federal government of Nigeria and have citizens of state government of Nigeria and that of local government. We only have one citizenry for the entire Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you cannot have federal government pursuing one policy, the states are doing a different thing, and the local government. So the National Economic Council need to do beyond the meetings they hold and the things they agree on. How do we ensure that a policy trust that affects everyone trickles down to states? Who monitors whether state has keyed into a policy trust of federal government? If we want to address insecurity, what is happening at the state level and the local government? It's not just shouting that, we are the chief security officer, well, with the command and structure is centralized. Beyond that, what are you doing? How are you funding it? How are you doing intelligence? How much of intelligence is transmitted from the local government to state daily? Because the country is at war with insecurity, banditry, kidnapping, unknown government, and what have you. So every day we are supposed to have streams of intelligence being shared from local level to state. In fact, you should have governors going to on a tour of each of the local government, meeting rural people, stakeholders. When farmers cannot go to their farms to produce anything, you are going to have scarce goods or farm produce chasing massive demands, and that means prices will rise. So you have insecurity that displaces the farmers, which has made it. You had in Niger just yesterday, the governor said we have banned bulk purchases of goods from our state to any other state. What the implication of that is that they seem, after that protest, there seem to be a form of shortage in the system, occasioned by the fact that the people of Niger are largely low-income earners. The people who've got the money are outside Niger, in Abuja or different places. So they come in there with the resources, purchase those things, thereby creating shortages for the people living there. Yeah. So now the governor has said no more bulk purchases outside here. Another implication is that you are going to create smuggling, because the people who are into this wants to make money. Very true. Are we ready to police all the routes from Niger to Abuja and other places. And when you create smuggling, the price of movement, cost of freight, and charges will rise, and it will be transferred to the final consumer. So I see a disarticulation, a disconnection between the federal government, the state, and the local. So it doesn't matter the party you belong to. You are supposed to work at a time for a governance that will benefit the people. So, for instance, a court gave judgment yesterday in Lagos, giving federal government 7 days to fix prices of different
food items and price control, like a price control.
Because you have to ask yourself, what is the character of our economy? This is a mixed economy that is capitalist dominated, meaning that the ownership of means of production are largely in the hands of private owners, right? So if that happens, it's the survival of the fittest. You are asking us to, if it's in a socialist economy, then they can wake up tomorrow and do that. But we have a leeway, because in the PIA venture that produced the NNPC we have today, government still have equity shareholding. That is why you could have NNPC sell at 617. So we can say NNPC in the next 3 months, right? This fuel is going to be at 100 naira because things are terrible in the country. But if you do that, are you also ready to contain smugglers who and middlemen who can trap and hoard, knowing that after 3 months there is a tendency for us to move? So we have a whole lot of challenge that cannot be addressed at the federal level. Yes, they are responsible for macroeconomic policies, monetary and fiscal policy we deal with, but we need everybody on board. However, there is a policy the CBN governor, also Minister of Finance, mentioned, that in terms of subsidy and import of fuel, that they targeted 30% for government and 70% for private sector. But that has not happened. And the forest disparity has wiped out whatever gain. And that is why I call on the government to, the president should address the people and actually, yes, everybody have commended you for the subsidy removal. For the step taking. What you thought when you remove subsidy, is that what you are seeing? Are you seeing the kind of result you want to see? You now tell Nigerians, this is what we have done. This is the challenge we are facing, because everybody thinks that when we remove payment of 10 trillion annually for subsidy, it will amount to us having revenue to deal with education and other social needs. Is that what is happening now? No, because there is a forest disparity that is wiping it out, because we are still importing the crude, we are importing the fuel and shipping out crude, and I even understand they are paying us, the money they are paying us for crude is not domiciled here. These are challenges. Look, we are in a world of global politics and geoeconomics, where the global north want to live off the global south. Nobody is looking out for you all over the world. You've got to look out for yourself. So we have to introduce economic policies that are protectionist in nature. Think about it. Today, you hardly see oranges with seeds that we plant and harvest here in the market. At best, it's at your family, you will take it, and it's no longer going into the market. Why? The market has been taken over by seedless oranges, grapes, and what have you. And those things were imported. And we even said for purpose of convenience, we prefer that one. When you say you prefer the one without seed and you're not the one planting them, right? What have you done? You have just pushed away the economic opportunity to others. And every single money they make here will be repatriated. You heard about the aviation funds that the CBN is now paying gradually. Because you don't have a national carrier, everybody has taken over you. So you have to do protectionist economic policy. We've got the numbers, we've got the resources. We just need the leaders to be firm. It will not be easy, because already these guys are here on ground and they have taken a chunk of our economic sector. and they are not ready. Today they are telling you that all you need now is an electric vehicle. That, see, you have fuel. Remember, the former Senator Okereke raised this argument in the floor of the Senate. We have fuel, and we have crude oil. We have other resources. We are supposed to use it to power vehicles. It is because vehicles around the world are powered by fuel and gasoline is the reason we are having oil revenue. And somebody now tells you that that is the reason you have climate change, that you're going to die if you don't abandon those ones and take on the one you cannot manufacture in your country. You've got to understand the global politics and then play your own and protect your economy. And that is where the National Assembly comes into play in terms of the legal framework, the critical oversight that needs to be done, and the legislative diplomacy that has to happen to deliver these policies.
All right. While we are hoping to see some of those legislative diplomacy and policies that will ensure the economy is beginning to take shape, we are hoping that all of the efforts by the government definitely would be, if there is a need for a review, then we'll be looking at some of those issues that warrant the legislature wading into the situation to salvage Nigeria's economy. If you check the time, it's 26 gone past 10 o'clock, and we are discussing the economy and the role of legislature. My name is Daniel Odi, and I've been discussing with a legislative expert. He's a legislative consultant. His name is Chibuzor Okereke. We'll go on a very short break, and when we come back, we'll take a couple of phone calls. I'd like to open up the phone calls to get your thoughts, and we'll look at the non-oil sector. Could this be as a result of neglect? Because the administration, though the same party, the administration before the Renewed Hope Agenda party, before the Tinubu's government tried to diversify the economy, is the non-oil sector, is it something that has not lived up to expectations? Because everyone is looking at getting revenue or generating revenue. The chunk of the Nigeria's internal generated revenue comes from the oil sector. We'll look at some of these issues that makes the economy very, very critical towards what the country is going through at this point in time. Please keep your phones charged, keep them recharged. When we come back, we accommodate all of your calls to look at the situation of the economy and the role of the legislature. Please stay with us.
My name is Akbofri Ogaga, a Nigeria based in the US. Severally, I've seen our legislators and government officials crying for help to fight insecurity and corruption on the media in a bid to create an impression that they sincerely want to crush the multi-billion-dollar crime and corruption industry. It's a big business going on. What's the summary of this problem of insecurity and corruption? In a nutshell, nobody cares to know how you make your money. The society now respects money. I think it is time to say enough is enough. Send people back to where they're supposed to be. Encourage the system to grow. If you ask my view, I believe at this time it seems President Tinubu's body language wants to fix the problem. And now that the Supreme Court judgment is over, I think we need to join hands to build a new Nigeria with this new administration, starting with the crushing of the crime and corruption industry. With due respect, I do not mean to ridicule anybody or establishment, but we need to be sincere with ourselves. We need to start the filtration process of a new Nigeria by filtering the good from the bad in the society. For instance, the kidnapping. They have those that used to monitor them. They have those that go for the operation to go and kidnap. They have those that will be watch over them. So it's a big industry going on. And I think we need to fix it. Now is the time. Have you asked yourself or see a Nigerian security agent that we all know whose annual take home is less than 4 million naira, but is driving a car worth 12 million or owns a house worth 30 million? What does that indicate? I've also noticed that people who do not have any form of business, they own most expensive cars in town. What does that indicate too? Crime and corruption flourishing before our eyes. I wept when my sister told me that the son in GSS2, somewhere in Ibadan, said that their teacher taught them that Yahoo is better than Yahoo++. I said, wow. Oh my God, I cried. Can we bring back values to the system? I ask this question though because I'm bothered. Have we forgotten some police officers caught in Port Harcourt for kidnapping? There are things we can do and ways to nip this thing on the bud. How do we fix this problem? Insecurity and corruption, they move together. They can only be separated after the investigation of the income of an individual. What is so unique is that this problem is half solved already with the following bill passed into law, which we know as the Proceeds from Crime Bill. It has been passed into law. What is left is how to implement it. So you don't need the international community to help when you already have the tool to use to fix this problem. The way forward is to activate the bill. To make sure we find a way to start using this bill, we need a proper illumination of this bill to start tracking the proceeds of crime and stop corruption. Without human interference, this can be done easily. We can design an artificial intelligence digital policing system that will track the proceeds of crime and corrupt money in the country. In less than a month, crime will start reducing drastically. What are the benefits of this proposed digital policing system? It will stop kidnapping, stop ransom, reduce or stop oil bunkering. The oil bunker is a big cartel going on, but we'll see it's going to reduce it drastically. Maybe it's going to track those who are doing it locally. But again, we can still track the big fish in the industry. This system should be fully implemented as designed. In less than 6 months, a new Nigeria is born, where hard work pays. Can this artificial intelligence system be deployed in states? Yes, of course. It can be designed and implemented in states that are truly ready to fight insecurity and corruption in their states. So for further information, any state government that is interested or the federal government that are interested, they should contact me through this platform, HallowMace TV or HallowMace Radio. The presenter knows me. Again, my number is +816-602-6983. I can be reached directly. So this is what I have to say for now. So if you are ready, I think we can fix it. Again, in FCT is like a country on its own, a state. We can fix it immediately. I want us to put hands together to help Nigeria, help this new administration. We can do it. Thank you.
All right, that is a bit of tidbit which has to do with security. Remember, at the beginning of the program, we said without security, we can't be talking about economic advancement or good governance or talking about going for our daily business. So economy definitely it is interwoven with security. And my guest is still in the studio seated. Legislative consultant Chibuzor Okereke is still in the studios, and he'll be ready to accommodate all of your questions. Before I open up the phone lines, I will still want him, let's look at the non-oil sector, agriculture, the productive economy, and every other sectors apart from oil and gas. The immediate past administration put a lot of policies in place to promote agriculture, rice production, and every other thing that has to do with agriculture. We do have the productive economy, the blue economy. All of these sectors, could they have fared better towards mitigating the economic situation the country is facing at this point in time? Because when we expect the economy to spring back, we are doing less of exportation. We are doing more of importation. Nigeria seems to be like a mono economy that everyone is focusing on the oil sector. What could have been done, or where could have the legislature weighed in to come up with legislative backings that will support the policies of government so that the economy can spring back easily and speedily?
Well, I think we already have a number of legislation that needs to be activated. You know, that is why I sometimes I'm amazed at how Nigeria functions. Thankfully, in the 2024 budget, the non-oil projection is even higher than the oil revenue contribution expected. I think it's about 18 or so trillion. So the non-oil also have been making significant contribution over time, but it needs better coordination. Also, if you look at the government took a decision, which was very critical, to defund, stop the providing funds in the budget for most of these professional associations and what have you, because that was what led to proliferation of all kinds of association, because once you have affiliate to government, then you have a budget line. So that was very critical. And then the government owned enterprises, the GOEs, have been taxed also to contribute significantly, and the framework for how they utilize their fund changed. So everybody seems to be on their toe. But I think the oil sector is leading the charge because it's a low-hanging fruit for us. The paradigms for the non-oil sector has a lot in it. For instance, if you are dealing with agriculture, right, you look at it's seasonal because we have not got the technology to deploy. And you mentioned the policies of the previous administration, like the anchor borrowers scheme, for instance. Who has interrogated it?
Who are the beneficiaries?
So how much billions did we deploy?
Was expended on such policies?
This is cash. This is money. It's tangible. You can count it. You can account for it. How much did we put into Anchor Borrowers program? How many farmers did we target into it? And the government sectors, maybe because of their oath of secrecy or what have you, are not able to put out this figure. What most importantly, at the point of designing this policy, what did we intend to achieve? Now we have run that policy for 8 years. What did we achieve? Under this new administration, do we still have Anchor Borrower Scheme running? What is the system of continuity and sustainability? Those in the system, when are they supposed to be paying back right now? What is the mechanism to recover those funds? Where are these individuals and what else? So that is where the National Assembly has to come in. And the world must know, when the National Assembly conducts oversight, tries to find out how government money has been expended, it is not a witch hunt. This is a constitutional provision in section 88 and 89 granted to the legislature, right? It's a vertical and horizontal accountability system. It's called government accounting. So if government has the power of the purse in line with section 80, 81, and 82, reside with the National Assembly. If they have made appropriation for you, to which you have used to carry out certain government projects or programs, you have to, and they decide to look into it, you have to account, for it. That is how we will know whether, if you propose to budget more for that program, whether we should do that. So we have to support the National Assembly to do the oversight. The National Assembly itself must not also take the oversight to jamboree. When oversights are conducted and reports are made, those reports must be devoid of patronage, devoid of partisan, right? It must aim at addressing our social economic need. And some of us have proposed that when reports are laid, it has to be made public. The reports should no longer be administratively presented during plenary. They should set aside moments to debate critical oversight report that touches on key sector. I give you instance, in this, you talked about blue economy. Since the blue economy was created under this administration, we have a lot of legislative framework to rework. The executive is even yet to propose, because certain agencies that were under agriculture are now under blue economy. Administratively. If you go to their principal act, their supervising minister is still that of agriculture and other ministries. It's not supposed to be so. We're already 8 months. Those acts should come and be reworked, right? So that even qualification for being in the board of some of those agencies had to change, because when they were agriculture-centric or other agencies, you needed experts from that area. Now it's blue economy-centric. You also need to rework the kind of expertise that you need in the ED position, CEO, and what have you. Now, can you travel from Lagos to Akwa Ibom on our coastal line? as a commercial reason. Can you do tourism there? You can. So we have a huge coastal economy that is waiting to be explored. I thought that the 2024 budget would have looked at even our transportation system using the coastline to open up the coastal areas for both tourism and the transportation. And we've got the people that are going to use it. Then we can talk about insecurity, because once we introduce that, other unknown gun people will hire their own boat to wait for people to kidnap them.
Well, that is exactly what the situation is. The state of the economy and the role of legislature is a topic of discussion. In the submission, we have learned that a lot needs to be done to fix the economy. Well, at this point in time, we'd like to open up the phone lines to get your thoughts, to get your reactions. If you have questions concerning what we have been talking about, if you think my guest has really laid down some of the points you are expecting, will be very, very pivotal in reshaping or reviving Nigeria's economy, you can call as well to make recommendations, or you can call to tell us what you think the legislature need to do, or what is the missing link. Is the economy really smiling at you? If this is not the case, tell us what you think can be done, or what are your expectations from this present administration. We are opening on 090-9752-9699 as a first studio number. 090-9752-9699. You can as well call the alternative number 0806-396-3643. 0806-396-3643. What exactly is the challenges that you're going through, and you think one solution can be done? One solution can be the answer towards helping government to succeed with all of its policies and programs. If you also have criticisms, constructive criticisms, you think that there is a policy put in place by this present government which is not yielding results, or you think that the benefits of this policy will surmount, if you think that the challenges will surmount the benefit, you can as well make your own submissions. Tell us what you think about what we are discussing. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning and welcome to HallowMace.
My name is
Please, comrade, move away from your radio set so that we can have this conversation.
So what I'm trying to say, all these things, let me analyze them one after the other.
Okay, sir.
And one is of press. I see that Nigerian press today, they are not being unique. It's not just a media press, but it's investigative press. Press should be everywhere. They are informants and the eyes and the mouth of the president. That is one. Then coming to insecurity. Insecurity, without security in any nation, we cannot really meaningful development or achievement. Why was the government waste funds, public payers' money for insecurity from year to year? In the name of securing the nation. The only way to stop insecurity in Nigeria. There are people sponsoring this
kidnapping
that were imported into the country. Those people have come to constitute themselves as a body to Nigeria. And this may happen in neighboring countries. Look at Ghana. Sometimes our security experts will take a flight to the US and Western world. Those people are not security experts. But to check in what's happening in your country. Because when it happens, they are great, and that is the end. This will gentlemen in Nigeria insecurity. See, the big boys, Nigeria, the government, they are difficult of the government to defend on these people who are sponsoring these people, taking them into the country. By the time you hold those people responsible, insecurity will end. And to be chasing shadows, going from foreign to chase people. And there are people who are arming them, giving guns, giving them arms, encouraging them. You cannot leave Nigeria today to any country with arms and with machinery to go and fight it, even to fight the military installation of that country. You should know that something is going wrong. Then coming to our legislation, The legislation, look at the insecurity today. Our people are in the IDP camp, abandoned. And these are the grassroots farmers. And yet, you need a farm produce. You come up with a policy of parity. What are we to do in Nigeria? To fight inflation. Fight inflation, let everybody benefit from the policy of your government. People are left in the IDP camp without even returning them to their personal home. They are suffering there. They cannot even access their farmland. And we are talking about security farm produce in the nation. It's a shame. And coming to legislative body, the legislature of Nigeria today is different from other legislative bodies in other world. The legislative body should put up policy, capital punishment for any erring people sponsoring this insecurity and what are due. And to classify insecurity in Nigeria, you have two types. There are people doing kidnapping to survive. And there are people who are having insecurity today and being sponsored just to destroy, to destabilize the nation. And I don't see what they will gain in doing that. So the government should do the needful. There must be intelligence within the military, within the armed forces, within the police, and mostly the press. The press should be at the scene of any incident. Not relying on reports, people feeding you with reports. You can go to any industry, any ministry, to investigate. Nobody will deprive you. They deprive you, cry out to the populace. The populace will find such heads. Some head of military will put them back. Not a certain press without them. All these are the benefits of corruption in Nigeria. And Nigeria should fight the head, those people who are controlling anybody in charge of public funds. To be dealt with, they should investigate them, not chasing the poor people and leaving the people who are corrupting the whole nation aside. I think may God help Nigeria.
Amen.
God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much with your submission. Your name again, I didn't get your name because of clarity at the beginning. Comrade Erupasa, you have made salient contributions. Thank you for being part of the show, even if you will be my only caller today. Well, coming to my guest, Erupasa raised some salient points, and he did talk about the role of the legislature. Well, in your earlier submission, you talk about attitudinal change. We've seen legislature or people in governance rejecting made-in-Nigerian cars as SUVs, as official cars. Could this be one of the reasons why we are suffering what we are suffering? Okay, let's take this should be our second call and our last call for today so that I'll allow you express. Yes, good morning. Welcome.
I hear your topic today.
All right, thank you very much. This is HallowMace on radio.
My name is Dr.
Okay. All right, go ahead, quickly.
The country, the richer are not giving the cash, they are not giving money to the poor. So the youth, if they are very hungry every day, they are not going to stay. They are just planning how to become something that is very evil or to act something that they will earn money even for them to survive. You understand?
Okay.
So the example of the government is the government of Gaddafi of Libya.
Okay.
He was a very good man. They become the sort of insecurity in the country. Insecurity in the country. The problem we have in Nigeria is that the richer, they don't care about the poor.
Okay.
They are just sitting and gathering the money, enjoying themselves. So why can't insecurity enter? Nobody above law in Nigeria. Understand that? Nobody above law in Nigeria. If anybody acted illegally, they should execute him and put him in judgment.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution and for being part of the show. Let me go back to the first caller. He did talk about one of the rule of legislature to ensure that this issue of insecurity, because we can't be talking about food security, which is one of the cause of inflation, one of the cause of economic downturn, without securing those farmers or people who are into agriculture. And he did mention about the sponsored banditry and kidnapping that we are experiencing today. If there is a legislative function of capital punishment, I don't know what kind of capital punishment. Is it death by hanging or any kind of capital punishment? Would this go a long way to address the problem of kidnapping or other kind of crime we're experiencing in the country?
Well,
and other rules the legislature need to put in place so that we can have our economy bouncing back all over again.
What people have to know is that legislation is a policy aspiration that government wants to use to address issues. It does not, legislation on its own does not take away problems. It is the implementation of the legislation, robustly and comprehensively with commitment that can take away problems. The young man, comrade, mentioned the issue of IDPs. What is the political economy of IDP in Nigeria? People have to know. Who benefit from us having rising camps of IDPs? Because we spend money to feed those people, right? Rather than relocate them to continue to farm and produce for us. So what is the framework for IDP? When somebody becomes an IDP, maybe by virtue of his village was attacked, how long should he stay in camp? Who is monitoring to ensure that you finish, you transit and resettle? And what are we doing to resettle? Now the political head for humanitarian affairs have been removed. For how many months now? The people in Plateau, they are unable to provide shelter to them since that attack. And what is the political economy of insecurity in Nigeria? Our comrade Iruba mentioned something like that. We have to know that Nigeria is a huge country with, a massive population. So all over the world, we are a huge market. And that market includes market of insecurity, market of normal goods and services, right? So the people who are here perpetuating insecurity as a means of their personal economy, what is our style? What is our policy arrangement? What is our internal intelligence building system to nip them in the bud? How are we collaborating and working with Ministry of Interior to ensure that over 60-something or I even heard nearly 1,000 porous borders we have across? How do we use technology to tackle it? Where is the place of the ECOWAS Treaty on free movement of goods in the kind of infiltration we are having? Is it internal? Is it external aggression? How do we address it? But definitely, there is an economy of insecurity in Nigeria where some people are benefiting from. You cannot invest money in ammunition in the type we see kidnappers and bandits and terrorists use. And I think that it is for nothing. So, and you look at also our mining fields. How much of this is because of the natural resources deposited in our lands? When they do this, displace people from farming because they have converted their farmland to a mining zone, right? When we issue mining licenses, how much of background check do we do? Are there other entanglement with those who are issuing mining licenses? Who policies and supervises? Since the enactment of the Nigeria Solid Mineral Act, right? I think in 2007, we have not been able to establish the mining inspectorate division, which are specialized expertise trained, in the policing and inspecting our mining reserves and even how mining have been done. So we have a lot of things we cannot do. We cannot legislate things legislate human beings from male to female. Even if you do that, you need to do some more work, and that is where oversight comes in. National Assembly should end any form of establishment bill throughout this 10th Assembly. All the bills, all the laws we have should now be looked at critically. Stop bringing establishment bill, because for every establishment bill that comes into play, right, brings us into focus of new issues rather than the ones we are addressing. With all the laws we have need to be strengthened, it need to be reviewed, it need to be rewarded. So I believe that we should, and by the way, if you look at since 1999 till now, we have recorded nearly 12,000 laws. that only less than 10% of them has been signed. So we need to go back and look. The Rules and Business Committees need to do a different type of job. Let's look at the law that you are bringing as establishment law. Does it have the compendium as prescribed? Where is the funding system going to come from? Look at the National Social Investment Program agency that the former speaker sponsored. It took the president how many days to sign it? He only signed it 6 days to leave in office. So this is where I'm calling on the 10th Assembly. Let us play down on introduction of establishment bills. The idea, and let us also educate the people more on the scorecard, the rating and benchmarking system for legislators' performance. It is not about whose name has entered into the sponsoring of bills. You may not be good in sponsoring bills, you can be good in oversight. Let us have legislators who are oversight gurus. Excellent. When you appear before them, Nigeria will get value for money. And let us have the ones that are dedicated to representation, so that if you go to U.S. Congress, there are certain lawmakers, when they sit in a panel and you are appearing, you already know. A lot of research will be done on the individual. It's not giving somebody a letter today and say, come tomorrow. We have not researched anything about you. We have not even read the documents. The documents are being distributed when the person is there. So we need to change it, because Nigeria have low perception and the National Assembly is doing a lot of work. But that work needs to be done in a more efficient and effective way, so that the other arms of government will respect the legislature and not... and so when the legislature speaks, like I heard the speaker is addressing a World Press Conference today. When he speaks, you see vision and aspiration and the direction the legislature wants to go. And every other arm of government, we know that the democratic arm of the whole government is up and running.
Most definitely, we are hoping that everything will be up and running in terms of how the governance of the day will be looked into, because we are using this platform to advocating for good governance, deepen democratic value, and ensure good life for every Nigerian. Well, that is the size of the package, because we are just 1 minute before we wrap up. We have been discussing state of the economy, the role of the legislature, which was being handled by myself and my guest, a legislative consultant, Chibuzor Okereke, has done justice, analyzing, breaking it down to the smallest particles for your understanding. So if you have enjoyed the program, please do join us on the program HallowMace on radio next week, Thursday. On this note, I would like to appreciate all those who called and all those who tried to call but couldn't get through. We sincerely appreciate your listenership, and we would like you to keep listening to the program. The program is also open for sponsorship. You can come sponsor a segment of the program or do business with this program. On behalf of the producer, Mr. Anderson, my name is Daniel, and I'm saying do have a fruitful day ahead. See you next week.